Today we're embarking on an adventure to check out Endeavor Deep Sea.
Hey gang, thanks for joining us at Tangermouse Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows. Today we're reviewing the game Endeavor Deep Sea from Burnt Island Games and Grand Gamers Guild. It's designed by Carl de Visser and Jarrett Gray, and it features art from Marusha Gorjup, Fahid Al-Rajil, and Josh Capel.
Endeavor Deep Sea is a competitive or cooperative action selection game for 1 to 5 players that takes about 30 minutes to play. Now, Burnt Island and Grand Gamers Guild was kind enough to give us this review copy to check out, so let's dive in.
To set up the game, select the mission you'd like and set up the location tiles for your scenario and give each player their board and trays.
Each round, players will draft a new recruit based on their red track. Then they will gain action discs based on their green effort track, and then they will reclaim discs based on their yellow track.
Players will then take turns activating a crew member to take an action. Actions include activating sonar, which explores new areas on the map.
Moving a vessel on the map, the distance and depth is based on your blue track.
Diving to gain a token that will offer research or maybe a bonus action.
You can work on conservation projects to gain benefits.
Or you can publish research findings, which can benefit you by ranking up a crew member to be able to complete new tasks.
Once everyone has taken the actions they'd like, the round ends and players begin a new round by selecting another character tile.
Once 6 rounds have been completed, players gain the points for their tracks as well as the end game scoring on the impact board, and the player with the most points wins. Deep Sea is the next in line in the Endeavor series type games that builds off of some of the mechanics and iconography that's in the first one, but this one pushes it to modern times where you have a group of scientists working together to do exploration and research and conservation in the deep ocean.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the original Endeavor Age of Sail, you're on boats, but they're much older boats and you're traveling around. In this game, yeah, we're in the future or right now, and we are exploring in this one an entire ocean full of deep options for us to choose from. We are upgrading our crew just like we were in the previous game, but in this one we are potentially cooperative. You can choose your gameplay in this mode, and yeah, it's a pretty interesting little not upgrade, but next evolution of the gameplay that we saw in Age of Sail. I know that's one of Sarah's fave games of all time. Mm-hmm. Should we jump immediately into the review portion, or do we need more things to talk about in general before I ask you what you think about the game?
Well, things I like about the game, we'll kind of do a little bit about
both.
Things I like about the game are it's easy to teach and learn. So the game gives you, during setup, the kind of beginning mechanics that you need to get started. So you're going to place your ship out on the starting space, and it's going to give you the arrival bonus that you get. So you put it on your board, and then you go through the steps of what you normally do because you already have, I get a token, and I'm going to remove my token. So it goes through that during setup, which gets you started to play the game. And then you're just using those action tokens to mark your character to take whatever action they can take. And your team leader that you start with can do any of the actions.
In addition to the easy to learn portion, the game is easy to set up as well. This new version especially contains all recycled products, so you're not playing with any plastic in this game, but you do have plenty of nice user trays, just like you would hope to find in any good game. You give each person their little tray of components and their board, and you're ready to jump into it. All of the cards that you'll be choosing, the tiles, also are in a nicely organized tray, so this one does pack up, set up, play really easily. And I was actually surprised the last time we played it. I played this at higher player counts, and we just played a 2-player count yesterday to refresh, and it was quick. It was a faster game than I remembered it being, partially because we knew what we were doing. We were on a mission. We knew what actions we were going to take. It's not the type of game that's going to drag out over a long time. You can take pretty quick turns in this game, and if you know what you're doing, it's actually a pretty quick play.
Yeah, every action in the game is going to give you some type of benefit. So even just moving your ship to whatever depths that it can reach, or just even across the surface, wherever you arrive gives you something. So it doesn't matter what you do, there is a benefit for taking that action. Some are going to be better than others based on how far that depth might be an issue if you haven't worked on the blue track at all. So balancing the tracks is also something that you'll need to be paying attention to strategy-wise in the game.
Yeah, I actually don't, I've played it several times, but I actually don't know if my strategy is to max out. A lot of games you want to like max out one track and like really kill it there to be able to win. This game does, I think, play better if you are balancing your tracks. So you got to kind of unlock everything as you go along and work your way through the game. Your choices in the game also not just based on the tracks, but where you are on the board as you explore new tiles and reveal them, and as you get additional ships put onto the board, you've got to kind of pay attention to, would it be better for me to move down one or over one? Where can I get the best bonuses based on where I'm at on the board, which is going to change every time because you've got a bunch of different tiles for those depths in the ocean.
Yeah, and during the gameplay, you actually get to pick which tiles are revealed. So if you're like, I don't really want to focus on conservation as much, I want to do more exploration, you might choose some tiles that have more sonar in them that will put more tiles out on your map. And you also get to pick where those go. Now you have to keep each level or depth in the right area, and you can't just have tiles freely floating off on the side, but for the most part you can have a lot of impact in how the board is being built as gameplay progresses.
Right, and that replayability is nice because you not only are going to be, potentially recruiting different crew members, you're going to be traveling to different locations, you're going to be, revealing tracks differently. You've also got the research cards that you are taking actions on, and those are going to give you a lot of different bonuses, which will push you up in different ways, and that deck is going to be random each time.
Other things I like about this is one of the first times that I've seen a competitive game have a cooperative version where the rules don't change. There's no rule changes other than endgame scoring isn't going to be competitive of who did first, who did second for whichever scenario goals that you have for competitive. It's going to be you need to complete this much stuff as a group for cooperative. And so your gameplay actually changes quite a bit as far as you now need to work together to get this far on this area or do this thing this many times. And it is interesting that your mindset about how you're going to play the game changes, but the rules don't, which I find really interesting.
Yeah, now I haven't actually played the solo mode. I don't even know anything about it. Is the solo mode the same as cooperative but just by yourself? Or is it a separate solo mode?
I believe it is a separate solo mode, but I'm sure there are some rules about how things are going to happen.
Missions.
But yes, the game does come with 10 missions, and each of those has its own mini board that you'll pull out, and it has all of the scenario in there, how you're going to set it up with the starting tiles, and then after that, you can work on adding things to the map however you'd like. So if you have a mission that might have lots of bonus points for conservation, you obviously would want to try and put more of those in the map than some of the other tiles.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so back to the original question. Which one do you like more?
Ooh, this is hard. So Endeavor Age of Sail has a set map. So it's really a race to see who can get to some of the areas and cover the map faster than everybody else. This one, there isn't necessarily a race involved.
Share spaces. I mean, not exact spaces, but tiles.
Yeah, there are limited spaces on the tiles. So if you do all of the sonar in one area, or you do all the conservation actions, or even the research spots, that can be competitive, getting to those specific tiles. But as far as the exploration is much more open. So you are free to go and do whatever you want within your limits of where you've been able to go depth-wise or how many spaces you can move. and that's based on your blue track. So I like that this one's open. Sometimes I do better in puzzle type games where I'm really restricted and I have to figure out like an out of the box way to deal with the restrictiveness. This one is open ended, so sometimes I spend more time thinking about what's the best use of my actions and what's the best use of using my characters. Upgrading them is probably a good way to go, so I have more options in the game in whatever endeavor I go on.
In whatever endeavor she goes in. Be sure to check out Endeavor Deep Sea. Thanks for watching our videos, following along, liking all our stuff here at Tantrum House.